up, everybody? My name is Amy, and this is the Ruby Pearl Glamper True Crime Podcast. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Please put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me all right. I don't know what happened to my intro and stuff there, but okay, great. Hi, Toxic Orchid. How are you? And remain calm. Hi, Mary Owens. How are you? Welcome, y'all, to the Ruby Pearl Glamper True Crime Podcast. My name is Amy. Welcome to my show. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day and had a wonderful week. It is bipolar season here in Arkansas, and my week has consisted of shorts, a coat, an umbrella, no power, and tornado warnings, all in the same week. I took my car to the shop to be worked on. It still ain't right. I'm going to have to take it back tomorrow, which will be an all-day process. Went to the doctor the other day thinking I was going for one thing and ended up with another. So it has been the week from hell this past week. And I'm not even getting my hopes up about next week because we're supposed to get more storms come in, and you know, that's just the way it goes around here. But it's been one crazy week. So needless to say, yes, one thing turns to 10. Exactly. It does. It's nuts. Oh my gosh. So, a lot going on in the true crime community right now. I have, just a few announcements. For those of you that, know much about the Manson family, the crimes of Charlie Manson and the Manson family, Scott from Dearly Departed Tours out in California announced that Linda Kasabian had passed away. And she actually passed away in late January, but it wasn't really, made public because she actually changed her last name. So it wasn't something that was, there was a big public announcement about. But I do follow Scott from Dearly Departed Tours out in California. And what he does is he has a tour. He has a museum full of all kinds of, Hollywood relics and stuff. And they take you also on tours around California, and show you a lot of different places where, you know, true crime stuff happened. And one of the tours that they do is the Manson family tour, and they take you, you know, to Cielo Drive and out to Spawn Ranch and to the La Bianca house, and, you know, and all these different places. But he announced on his YouTube channel that Linda Kasapian had passed away, and she was the one who ended up testifying against Charlie in trial. She was present for both of the murders. She was present for the Tate murders at Cielo Drive, and she was present for the La Bianca murders, although she did not participate in any of it. Hello, Imitation of Life. You know, that's my mother's favorite movie in the world. Imitation of Life, that's her favorite movie. But yeah, she passed away. So, and of course, the Murdaugh trial ended last week. He was found guilty and sentenced to life in prison and good riddance. So, you know, I my niece shared something really funny on Facebook, and the minute I saw it, it made me think of Jonathan Lee Riches. So I posted it to my community tab and showed it was a T-shirt, and it had Murdaugh's picture on it, and it said, "Don't trust your soul to no backwoods Southern lawyer, Reba," because that's one of the lines from the song "The Night the Lights Went Out in Georgia." Don't trust your soul to no backwoods Southern lawyer, 'cause the judge in the town's got bloodstains on his hands. I love that song. So, yeah, before I get into discussing Bryan Kohberger and all of the latest that's going on in the case against Bryan Kohberger for the murders of Kaylee Gonzalez, Madison Mogan, Ethan Chapin, and Xander Kernodle, known as the Idaho Four, I want to talk about something else that should be being discussed in the true crime community, but it's not. But it actually comes from the pop culture community. And this is about the death of pop star Aaron Carter. Aaron Carter died this past year in his Los Angeles home. His cause of death is listed as a drug overdose. He was found dead in his bathtub by a housekeeper that he had just recently hired. And the police just wrote it off as a drug overdose and did not do an investigation, because Aaron is known to have had substance abuse. He's very well known for his substance abuse and his mental health issues. Well, his mother, Jane Carter, recently, yes, he was a huffer too. Yeah. Recently, his mother, Jane Carter, posted photos on her Facebook that were alleged to have been taken from the crime scene. Okay. You know, stating that she wants a real investigation by the Los Angeles Police Department as to, you know, what happened to Aaron. And this just absolutely disgusted me and saddened me. My oldest daughter is a preteen of the 90s. And in the late 90s and early 2000s, I took her to see all the boy band concerts. You know, NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, Britney Spears, LFO, oh gosh, I mean, all of them. And I took her to see Aaron Carter. He was doing his first little solo tour that he did was a Walmart tour. And his stage was set up in a Walmart parking lot here in Arkansas. And I had to stand backstage with my youngest daughter because she was just 2 at the time. And all those screaming young teeny bopper girls were scaring her to death. So I stood backstage because I know so many people in radio and stuff. And so I stood back out of the crowd with her and stood backstage. But so I've watched Aaron Carter grow up, and I know about the entire history of the Carter family, all the problems that have happened, about, you know, the parents and the problems between the siblings, the drug use and mental health issues amongst the kids. And, you know, you think your own family is fucked up, and then you look at the Carter family and you think, wow, maybe my family's not as fucked up as I thought it was. But, you know, I am such a mama bear type person, you know, and watching Aaron grow up, you know, I felt a little mama bear towards him. I know, you know, he's had his problems with his parents and them, you know, stealing money and taking money and everything from him. Yes, the reality show, that was something else. And then, you know, one of the kids passed away, Leslie Carter. She died from a drug overdose. The whole family has had alcohol and drug abuse and mental health issues. Everyone in the entire family, whether they want to admit it or not. And, you know, it has just been sad for me as a mom to watch Aaron's decline over these last few years. I had my own mental health battle, and there were just things that I could recognize and see in Aaron that hit me. And no, Angel is Aaron's twin. Leslie was one of his older sisters. There's BJ, Leslie, Nick, Angel, and Aaron are twins. And I don't think I left anybody out. I think there's 5 kids. And then, like I said, Leslie passed away, and BJ and Nick and Angel now are the only 3 left. You know, but and I've recognized things going on with Aaron that I could understand. And, you know, it was just very sad to watch. And I knew that it was just going to be a matter of time, you know, that something was going to happen. And, you know, I've watched his relationship with Melanie Martin. since, you know, he got with her, and, you know, their relationship was extremely toxic. Yes, yeah, he and Melanie had a little boy named Prince. And now that little boy is never going to know his father. And just, you know, it's just heartbreaking. And I was just sickened that Jane Carter posted those photos, because I know the history between Nick and his mother and Aaron and his mother, and, you know, the money and all that kind of stuff. Like I said, the whole family's fucked up. The whole family's toxic, and, you know, but I just could not believe that she posted those horrific crime scene photos to Facebook for everybody to see. And it was just disgusting and gross. And, but I do agree with her that Aaron's death does need to be looked into by the police, because there is information out there, and there are some gangbangers that are claiming that they took the life of Aaron Carter, that they are responsible for his death. I swear on my mama, as they said. Now, you know, I don't know who these guys are, but, you know, yes, Aaron had mental health issues. He had substance abuse. There were, you know, drugs found. There were aerosol cans and stuff found, you know, at the scene, pills, all kinds of stuff. But, you know, people on live on Instagram or YouTube or wherever, you know, making these claims and saying the horrible things that they're saying about Aaron, and saying that they took his life. On my mama, I did it, you know. Go arrest them little bastards, whether they did it or not. They want to go to jail so bad. They want, you know, the attention so bad. Yeah, it's just, but, you know, when you've got people out here saying, whether they want to just say it because they're bullshitting or just for clout or whatever, you know, I just think that it does warrant looking into more. And, you know, Melanie Martin, she's a shady little bitch. And I have not liked her since Aaron got with her. I did not think that she was good for him, or a good influence. And I was right. I mean, their whole relationship was so toxic, and, you know, just, it just makes me sad. It really does. It just makes me extremely sad. Wasn't his phone in his truck and the kid? I'm not sure. I'm not really sure on a lot of the details and stuff, but I mean, Melanie, I don't trust that little bitch no farther than I can pick her little fat ass up and throw her. And yeah, she's fat. Yeah, I'm body shaming her. I don't like her. She's not a good person. I mean, Aaron, yes, he has his faults, but, you know, I just don't, she did some horrible stuff. And I'm, like I said, I know Aaron's no saint either, but I just think that there is just enough circumstantial things that have happened and been said that Aaron's death does warrant a criminal investigation. I will agree with Jane Carter on that. However, I thought it was disgusting and humiliating that she posted those horrific pictures on Facebook. That was not something I wanted to see. I can tell you that. And when I came home from the doctor's office and, got in the house and sat down, I got on YouTube, and I'll be damned if that's the first thing that didn't pop up in my feed. And I was like, oh, dear God, I wonder if Molly has seen this. And I immediately messaged Molly Golightly. And I sent a link to the video. I was like, dear God, Molly, have you seen this? I'm like, what the hell is wrong with this woman? Because, Molly was friends with Aaron. She was a life coach to him. And, there was, nothing she could do either to help Aaron. But, that kid should not be dead. And that's all, that's all I got to say is that, actually, if Jane Carter wants an investigation into the death of her son, she can start with her own front doorstep, because she can be a lot to blame for Aaron's death, in my opinion. Have y'all heard the song that Nick wrote about Aaron when he died? Hurts to Love You. I mean, that is so heartbreaking, hearing him sing that song. And I knew the minute that they announced that Aaron had been found dead, I'm like, I know him and Nick had their issues, but this is going to rip his heart out, because at the end of the day, those brothers loved each other, even though they, they had their problems in their toxic, relationship and everything. Yeah. And that's all Aaron loved Nick, and that's all he ever did. I mean, he lived in the shadow of his brother, as far as in the media. It's like he lived in the shadow of his brother, but he loved his brother and he wanted his big brother's approval so bad. And, these last several years, all Aaron could do was lash out, and a lot of it, like I said, had to do with his substance abuse and mental health issues. And he was suffering from paranoia and schizophrenia and stuff. And, it just, that whole family is toxic, and it's sad that Aaron's gone, because he shouldn't be. But so let's talk about Bryan Kohberger and all the new evidence against him. They unsealed the documents from Pennsylvania, and we have found, gotten a list of everything that they took from Bryan's parents' home in Pennsylvania when they arrested him. And, in my opinion, I feel like a lot of this evidence, while it may be circumstantial, it is damning. And especially if any of it can be directly tied to the murders. So I want to go over this new list of things that they retrieved from his parents' Pennsylvania home and the white Hyundai Elantra that he was driving. They confiscated a knife, a book with underlining on page 118. That was in a criminal psychology book, I think. That's something I'm gonna have to look more into. Hey, Renee Marie, how are you? That's something I'm going to have to look more into, you know, just what is on page 118 in this particular book, and, you know, what did he possibly underline. They took AT&T bill for Bryan C. Kohberger, a Glock 22 Generation 540 caliber serial number BMKV 5QZ, a Smith & Wesson pocket knife, a folder containing vehicle paperwork, an Acer laptop model number N22C2SIN, and blah, blah, blah. So, a laptop. A green leafy substance in a green container. Gee, wonder what that was. I'm sure it wasn't sage. Some sort of a document. A green leafy substance in a plastic bag. Wonder what that was. White paper with password, power cable, cell phone, 3 Glock 40 caliber magazines that were empty, some books, a black face mask. Murdaugh's maid's death case is up next. Oh, see, I did not follow the Murdaugh trial. I don't know. It just, I just didn't get into it. So I really don't know even a whole lot about it, other than he shot his son and his wife. But a black face mask. Now, this is pretty damning when you remember back that the person Dylan Mortensen saw in her home that night had on a black face mask, like a COVID mask, not a ski mask. Prescription: black gloves, 1 black hat, and 1 black mask. Personal identifying documents: New Balance shoes, a dark colored jacket, let's see, I guess 3 dark colored jackets, 3 dark colored shirts, a couple of dark colored pairs of pants, a clear plastic glove, 1 Asus laptop with damage, 1 ineligible laptop with damage, a record of sale of the Glock 22. Yeah, I just wonder if that record of sale was to Bryan or not. Hey, Charlie, how are you? Let's see. A note in desk. Item photographed but not taken. A criminal psychology book. Document and DeSales University notebook. That DeSales University is the university that he attended before he went to Washington State. It's where he got his master's degree and all that stuff. An extra large Columbia Navy fleece, a man's world drawing, 10 cards inside glove inside box, various criminology books, notes, license, and card, a dark color hat, black gloves, Seagate Barracuda 1 gigabyte Samsung solid hard drive, a black box Samsung. Oops, let me go back this way. 2 pair of black gloves and 1 black knit hat. Like, what was his, what was he, a cat burglar in his spare time? Like all this black mask and gloves and hats and stuff. Makes you think of a cat burglar, you know. Dark green short sleeve shirt, black long sleeve shirt, black sweatshirt, gray jacket, 2 pairs of black pants, 2 pairs of black jeans. Well, this guy likes black. He's as bad as I am. A motherboard, Washington State University paperwork, a note from Bryan from Montana. Now, let me read that again. Note from Bryan from Montana. Not quite sure what to make of that. A craftsman's shop vac, medical documents, some other kind of documents, a note to Dad from Bryan. Boy, don't you wish you could learn the contents of that note? Wonder if it's anything like the note that Bryan Laundrie's mama wrote between him and his mama. Wonder if it's anything damning like that. Excuse me. A maroon colored spiral notebook. More dark colored clothes. HP. Lenovo laptop. Tangent. I don't know what that means. Dark clothes in a laundry basket. Tailor knife with leather sheath. Yeah, me too, Charlie. So here we have some type of a knife with its leather sheath. So it's, you know, the guy likes knives. A different buccal swabs. 2 pairs of dark colored boots, 1 pair of brown boots. And I guess that's all. Now we know that the items that were retrieved from his apartment, you know, they took some bedding and pillows and things like that that had what they thought could be possible blood stains. From his apartment, they found an animal hair. So, you know, if it's consistent with Kaylee's little dog, that's not going to be, you know, good on his part. And they, you know, took some other stuff from his apartment. I think some different hairs were retrieved from his apartment. And then, of course, they took several pieces of the white Hyundai Elantra. I don't know why they didn't just confiscate the whole car, you know, so that they could thoroughly examine the entire car. But they took things like the gas pedal and the seat belt and the seats and, you know, different things like that out of his car. They just took parts of the car. I don't understand why they didn't confiscate the whole car, but anyway. So, you know, a lot of stuff has been confiscated from him. Of course, we also know about, you know, the things that were in the probable cause affidavit, like the cell phone data and pings and stuff there in the area of 112 King Road, and, you know, how many times he was there. You know, all of the video surveillance and stuff where his car was seen, and, that night, in the area and passing by the house and other, cameras in the area catching him in the area. What's sad is if y'all have ever watched those police body cam footage of, the kids that got in trouble for underage drinking that night, that's his car driving around in the background that you can see in the distance. Like this was all being committed, and the police were right there in the area. It's, it's insane. Did anyone ever find out if he was involved with, there's no evidence to prove that he was remain calm, but it's still something that's going to linger in the back of everyone's mind. I don't, the guy's a sicko, so anything is possible, and you could, like I said, a lot of us out here don't think that this was his first rodeo, and that he has, committed other crimes that, and there has been some investigation into other crimes and stuff to see if, he could possibly be linked to them. Nothing so far, or at least nothing has been, brought out into the mainstream media. There's the gag order on the case, and, the media, the mainstream media, 32 different media outlets have filed something in court to try and get the gag order lifted. The families want, like the Gonzalez have family, they have their own attorney, and they want their attorney to be able to make statements and things like that and handle the press, on their behalf. But with the gag order, nobody is able to speak, and a lot of people feel like that infringes upon the First Amendment, the right to free speech, and maybe it does, but me personally, it doesn't bother me that there's a gag order. To you, how are you? It doesn't bother me that there's a gag order, because I don't want anything to go wrong, and I don't want there to be anything that he could, file appeals on and stuff. I mean, I followed a lot of mainstream cases and stuff, and a lot of them, in their appeals have made filings saying, that the media coverage was, too much and didn't give that person, it hindered the ability for that person to get a fair trial because of the media coverage and blah, 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 blah. Well, I mean, welcome to 2023. Yeah, he does. He's got a lot of laptops. We've got 24-hour news coverage, from news outlets all over the world. And, this is a big case. This made it into the mainstream, and, so it's going to get a lot of press and a lot of attention. And especially now you've got, a whole new breed of media out here with us YouTube creators. So, it's but it don't bother me about the gag order, because anything to lessen his ability to get something overturned on an appeal, is, I just don't want anything to happen. I don't want anything to go wrong. And now we're in a situation where we've got the Vallows Daybell case, where they have banned media from the courtroom. We've got Leilani Simon's case, who they're trying to ban and keep media out of her case and out of her court hearings and stuff. And now this one with Bryan Kohberger, with the gag order and everything. So it's ticking a lot of people off. Yeah, too many cases go wrong because the LE does get it in a hurry. But you know what? I have all the faith in the world that the law enforcement in the Idaho 4 case has done right. They have certainly done right. And law enforcement in Chatham County in the Leilani Simon case, they've got a little bit to make up for, but at the end of the day, I do understand that they really needed to have to find Quentin's remains before they could arrest Leilani. I was shocked that they actually came out and said she was the prime suspect, and then didn't arrest her for a month. So they kind of brought the firestorm onto themselves in that situation. But at the end of the day, she is locked up, so I'm happy with that, and I hope she has to spend the rest of her life in prison thinking about what she did to her son. Yes, Bryan trying to pull off the perfect murder. I truly believe, and this is my opinion, but I truly believe that Bryan was an incel. And I do believe that this was an incel killing. I believe that he became fixated and fascinated with Madison Mogen, and everyone else who died were collateral damage. And Kaylee, of course, was her other half. So, and I feel that may also be why she suffered even worse injuries, because of Bryan's anger, in the whole situation. If you haven't watched the video I did talking about incels and why I believe that this crime totally fits the criteria for an incel killing, then please go watch my video titled Incel or Mastermind, because it's scary. And they'll be able to pull all the data off of all them 5,000 computers they confiscated. Because so far all we knew was that they had confiscated a computer tower from his apartment. Until these Pennsylvania documents were unsealed, hadn't heard about them confiscating any kind of laptops or other computers or anything. And I just thought, this is weird. I know this guy's got to have a laptop. There's no way he can be a college student and not have a laptop. And apparently he had several. So, they'll be able to pull all that information off of all those computers and see what websites he has been to, what he has searched, what chat groups he has gone into. Has he been on the dark web? Everything. They'll be all social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, all of that stuff. They'll be able to pull all that information off all these hard drives and stuff. And whether or not, he made contact with any of the victims or anything like that. I am assuming they will probably also subpoena his bank records, because I would like to know. Now, he could have easily paid cash money if he did go to the Mad Greek restaurant and eat, but even though the Mad Greek has come out and said that, none of their employees told anyone that Bryan had ate at the Mad Greek, I have to believe that he did at some point in time. Okay, great. Remain calm. Sure. I have to believe that is maybe where he, met Madison and Xana as well for the first time. I don't quite buy that, he just randomly, found her on, like Instagram or Facebook or anything, because, this crime is so horrific and so brutal and so horrible and was so planned out and thought about for months in advance that, you don't go through this much detail to take someone's life just because somebody didn't message you back on Instagram. That's horse shit. Complete horse shit. I don't buy that. So I do believe that he has had to have made personal contact with Madison, and that was how he became fixated on her. Even with the gag order in place, things are being leaked. That is true, but I wouldn't read too much into what Ashley Banfield says. I get tickled, sources say, and sources in tight with the family, and sources inside the investigation say blah 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 blah. There was one thing that she reported on as what was it she said? Sources inside the investigation have said, and gave that information. I'm like, I was talking about that shit over a month ago. Like, where are you getting this sources, secret sources inside the investigation? I'm like, this has been all over the internet for a month. So, but she's just grasping at, stuff. And it's like, people.com has been caught literally lying. They were the ones that put out the information about someone from the Mad Greek telling them that Bryan had visited the Mad Greek restaurant, and they lied. That's not to say that he didn't, but no one from the Mad Greek restaurant, is supposed to be talking to the mainstream media. The owners of that place have, been extremely devastated over all this, and the loss of their employees, because Madison and Xana had both worked there for quite some time, and so no one from the restaurant was even speaking to media. But I mean, is it really protecting the case? Yeah, it is and it isn't. I wish, I know, believe me, I know, because I'm the same way. Curiosity killed the cat. Inquiring minds want to know. We all want to know every single detail. We want to know everything that's going on. But at the end of the day, I'm willing to wait. I'm willing to, if it protects the integrity of the case, and it protects, Bryan from having any grounds to appeal on if he is found guilty, then I'm all for it. They try to say that the gag order protects the defendant, but in reality, I believe that the gag order protects the entire case, both the prosecution and the defense. That's just my opinion. Personally, I think Leilani's mother needs to be held. Yes, she does. Billy Joel. Jack and Billy Joel. She sure does. I mean, at the end of the day, Billy Joe left them kids there with her, and after she went to court and took the kids away from her because she was an unfit parent, and she turned around, left the kids there, and look what happened. So she can whine to her little Canadian friend all she wants to, but she's just as much to blame for Quentin's death as Leilani is. And I'll say that to her face. Yes, Charlie, thank you for posting the channel links. Toxic Orchid, do you have a channel? And Remain Calm, and she and I have been having so many wonderful discussions about the Summer Wells case. She has been a wealth of knowledge for me in the Summer Wells case, because there was so much that I missed out on in the very beginning, because I was covering so many trials at that time over on my Spotify channel. And it was just back to back to back to back trials that, by the time I was able to circle back around and start, talking about Summer and reporting on her case and discussing her case and everything, so much had happened, and there was so much drama going on in the YouTube community, and there was so much I missed out on. But she and I have been having some really great discussions about that case and everything. And, this June will be 2 years since Summer's been gone, and we are no closer now than we were the day she went missing. I hope, everybody keeps saying they got that feeling that, something's coming, justice is coming. And we could all wake up tomorrow and the mainstream media is blasting, you know, so-and-so's been arrested for the kidnapping of Summer Moon Utah Wells, or, you know, her parents have been arrested, or we found her, we never know. And, but I just, you know, the longer it goes on with no answers, you know, the more my heart just sinks, you know, that, you know, we may never get any answers as to what happened to Summer. I hope not. I really do. I want that little girl found, no matter what the circumstances are. I want her found, and whoever, you know, is responsible for her disappearance, I want them to be buried underneath the jail and throw away the key. You know, I mean, the last time I was, you know, became attached to a child that was not mine, that went missing, was the Jordan Beliveau case. Little Jordan Beliveau in Largo, Florida. And his case was a CPS case. And they removed him from Ward and June Cleaver foster parents and gave him back to his biological mother, and she beat him to death. So, you know, I still ain't over that one. And, you know, and I got attached to little baby Quentin too, and you know, Harmony and Oakley and Monkey Vaughn, and I just don't understand that you can look in these sweet little children's faces and do anything harmful to them. That is just a place that my mind cannot even comprehend. You know, I mean, sure, we've all wanted to whip our kids' asses, if, you know, once in a while, but serious harm like that, or you know, essaying, or, you know, trafficking, those things like that, that's just something my mind cannot even begin to comprehend. It's hard, you know. One of the things that I love about true crime is, you know, the mind, the criminal mind. You know, it's fascinating, and, you know, as to what makes these people tick and what makes these people do what they do. And, but, you know, and I can get in the criminal mind of a lot of things, but I can't get in the criminal mind of a pedophile. That's just something I can't even begin to comprehend at all. It just, you know, I don't even understand it. You know, I can understand, you know, killing your wife or killing your husband or the neighbor, or, you know, hookers, or, you know, being a serial killer that kills redheads or whatever, or brunettes like, you know, Ted Bundy, things like that. But I can't even begin to comprehend impure sexual thoughts about a child. That's something that I can't even wrap my mind around. Who was stalking you? Toxic Orchid, you said he was stalking her, I bet. Who are you talking about? Are you talking about Bryan Kohberger stalking Madison Mogen? Because yeah, he was stalking them. There's proof in that probable cause affidavit that he was stalking them, and I'm sure that there is much more to come. Like I said, no telling what they will find when they strip these hard drives on all these computers and stuff. A guy I went to school with, an old boyfriend. I was in love with him half my damn life. Anyway, he went on to become a detective and in Louisiana, and it was so funny. We had our 20-year high school reunion, and I made our reunion video, and so Bobby put it on the computer, and it was playing up on the big screen and everything, but we couldn't get the sound to work. And I hollered at him, and he came over there, and I said, "Can you know how to do computer stuff? Can you get the sound to work?" He said, "Amy," he said, "I can strip a hard drive any day of the week." He said, "But don't ask me how to fix the sound on this, to show our high school reunion video." And it was just so funny. It was just yeah, you had to be there. Like he can strip a hard drive, but can't fix the sound on our 20-year high school reunion video. So it was hilarious. Yes, and the owner said otherwise. Oh, you're talking about Bryan Kohberger stalking Madison and like possibly going to the Mad Greek restaurant, but the owner said that he had not been in there. I think what that was really more about was because People magazine had put out there that an employee at the Mad Greek restaurant, had told them exclusively that Bryan had been at the Mad Greek restaurant, even said that he ordered vegan pizza. And so the owner came out and said, no one here ever told People magazine that. I just can't believe that if no proof comes forward that he ever went to the Mad Greek restaurant and ate, then so be it. But I find it extremely hard to believe. And the fact that he is a strict diehard vegan, and the fact that they have a good little vegan menu there at the Mad Greek restaurant, it just, I had to believe even if it was only one time he went in there, Yeah, well, the defense has to, what the defense has to do basically is they have to, poke holes in what the prosecution is saying happened. And, yeah, a lot of the evidence so far seems a little bit circumstantial, other than the DNA that was found on the knife sheath, you know, left there at the scene. But, you know, something tells me that there's a whole lot more to come. There's a lot more, you know, definitive evidence to come. You know, we just have to wait and see. You know, we're not, unfortunately, with the gag order, you know, we're not going to get every little, you know, Tom, Dick, and Harry, every little smidgen of information that, you know, they've uncovered in the investigation. And, you know, like I said, I'm okay with it. I know a lot of people aren't, but, you know, I'm the same way. I mean, you know, curiosity killed the cat, and I want to know too, but, for the sake of justice, I'm certainly willing to, you know, wait it out. Something tells me there is more than just BK involved in this murder scene. You know, that has been explored, to you. And, you know, I don't know what the situation is with this other guy that there's been talk about claiming, you know, that he might have been involved as well. You know, I don't, that's not a rabbit hole I've gone down yet. I know other channels have, I can't even think of the guy's name now. But I know other channels have covered him having a co-conspirator in it, but that's just not a rabbit hole I've gone down personally. So, you know, this, oh, okay. Yeah, I understand. That's why we don't cover Summer in our Discord until she's found and there's actual evidence. We won't cover her. Well, you know, I can understand that because, you know, really at the end of the day, every single one of us here on YouTube that have discussed Summer and her case, that's all we've been able to discuss is just, you know, just discuss things. You know, there's no evidence, you know, that, and that we know of anyway, you know. But if I feel like if there was anything really hard and concrete out there that, you know, led to someone or somewhere, that, you know, we would know by now. But really, so far, all we've seen them do is ground coverage, searching for Summer there in the Beech Creek area, because, you know, according to what Ronnie Lawson has stated, is that they felt like she wandered off from her house. That, you know, no, there was no kidnapping. You know, they have not even come right out and said whether or not they think the parents are involved. They've just said that everything is on the table. Everyone's still a suspect. And, you know, they've done a lot of ground coverage search for Summer there in the Beech Creek area. And, you know, that's all that has come out in 2 years now. And it's, you know, I mean, I've been covering cases and following cases and studying cases since, the late 80s. So, I have watched JonBenet Ramsey case and the Morgan Nick kidnapping and all that, unfold in real time. And, in both cases, here we are 20 something years later and still have absolutely no answers as to what really happened to Morgan Nick and her remains, or she has never been found alive or deceased, and with JonBenet, we still don't know what truly happened to her. And, Colorado will not send the DNA evidence that they have and let it be tested and try to track her killer down through genealogy, like so many of these cases are getting solved through genealogy. And the truth is, it's because Boulder, Colorado police have believed from day one that John and Patsy Ramsey did something to their child. They don't believe there was ever an intruder or anyone else did anything to JonBenet. So that's why they don't want to do it. It's all about ego and humiliation. It's the same thing here in Arkansas with the West Memphis Three. They're trying to exonerate themselves now by asking for further DNA testing in their case, even though they're no longer in prison. And, our Arkansas government and the West Memphis Police Department, all that's so corrupt that, they don't want to know they don't want to find the real killer because they think they had the real killers all along and had them locked up for almost 20 years until they, unjustly got out on an Alford plea, which, made them plead guilty. I don't even want to get on that subject because the ugly comes out in me. I get very, very emotional and very, very angry about that. But Damien appealed to the Supreme Court and to try to force the lower court's hand to do the DNA testing, and haven't heard anything back yet, other than they're asking him to drop his case and drop his appeal and stuff, but that's not going to happen. So, well, does anybody have any questions or anything that you want maybe to discuss about anything involving Bryan Kohberger, the Idaho 4, Summer Wells, Aaron Carter, anything that I've talked about tonight? Charlie, are you still here? Charlie K? I don't know if you heard me, Charlie, tell you, announce about that Linda Kasapian had passed away. Did you hear in the beginning when I announced that? Charlie and I bond over Charlie Manson. We both have a fascination with the Manson family. I'm a big fan of Charlie's music, but that's just the hippie in me, though. I love his style of music. It's quite a shame that he couldn't have done more with his music, and maybe he wouldn't have ordered the killing of all them people that he says he didn't, but he did. Look at your game, girl. Anybody else a fan of Charlie Manson's music? Besides me and Charlie K? Anyway. Well, everybody, that's really all I have tonight. If nobody has any questions or any more questions or anything, I think I'm going to wrap it up for the evening. I've got to get up early in the morning and take my car back to the shop. So I've got to have a power steering hose put on and then have them look at the work they did the other day, because something still ain't right with my car. So anyway, plus I've got to pick up a prescription at Walmart and a couple other things while I'm in town. So, but yeah, I have to get up at the butt crack of dawn in the morning and be there when the shop opens up. So hopefully I won't be there all day, just most of the day. Well, anyway, everybody, you all have a wonderful evening. And here at the Ruby Pearl Glamper True Crime Podcast, I cannot stress enough that each day that you go out into this world, you be the change that you want to see in this world. As Michael Jackson said, it starts with the man in the mirror. Peace out, everyone. Have a great night.
What's happening, y'all? If you're looking for a sad true crime podcast, then get up off of that thing and boogie on over to the Ruby Pearl Glamper True Crime Podcast, where we give you the lowdown on all things true crime. Oh, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell. Catch you on the flip side.